have 40 items, and those items, they don't really have any impact in the society. Like they're not making you any, they're not bringing you any fame. Well, that was Marvel in 2007. All the precious characters like Spider-Man or X-Men were either sold to Sony or Fox, and Hulk was sold to Universal. They didn't have any rights of their major characters. Whatever you know, Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, they're all B graders or C graders superheroes. Uh, at least they were at one point. And yet they all came together. There was an idea to bring together. I guess you all know the line, but we came up with a franchise that's called Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it expanded for 11 years in 23 movies, and it's still going strong with TV shows, animated shows, in fact, now. So, having said that, all there's a big difference though, between saying Marvel and Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel, as I said, implies everything from comic books to video games to the original Spider-Man movies of Tobey Maguire to the recent Venom movies or to the Netflix Daredevil show. Everything is Marvel, whereas Marvel Cinematic Universe is anything that comes under Marvel Studios. So if you're watching a movie, if you're watching a TV show and it says Marvel Studios, it's MCU. Other than that, it's not MCU. Please remember that. Or else I'll have to snap my fingers. Okay, having said that, as I said, 11 years, 23 movies. They all collectively make up something that's called Infinity Saga, and it has four big key points, the four big Avengers movies. And similar to those four movies, we have four segments in today's Toastmaster meeting. The prepared speeches will be the first segment. The speeches will come prepared with the speeches and present to us. Second, we will have a table topic session where the table topic master will give the topics to, and it is open for all, so all can participate. Following the speaking sessions, we'll have the third segment, which is a bit like quiz. So to explain more about that segment, let me call upon the listener for the day. She describes herself as a selectively extrovert person who loves nature and long walks. She has watched all the MCU movies, I'm presuming, at least 3 or 4 times. And her favorite superhero would be, you guessed it, it's Iron Man. So please welcome Toastmaster Deepika.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Listening is not a skill, it is discipline. And as the listener for today's meeting, I will be noting down interesting tidbits, and also I will be asking questions related to those interesting tidbits in the end, towards the mere end of the meeting. And as there is in every meeting, there is a best listener, and the best listener is the person who will be answering most of the questions that will be asked. So all the best to all the role takers and speakers. I will be back with a bunch of questions. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepika. The fourth and the final segment would be the evaluation segment, where everything will come together and it will all make sense to you. For explaining what that segment will be, I would like to call upon the general evaluator of the meeting. She describes herself as a first-year CSE student who is passionate about performing arts, and she is obsessed with Marvel ever since her first MCU movie, which she watched. That was Endgame. I still don't know how Endgame was your first movie, but please welcome Toastmaster Kriti.
Thank you, TMOD. Better late than never, right? I started and now I'm obsessed. Also loving the Marvel references, just want to say that. Good evening, everyone. I am the general evaluator for today's meeting, aka the judgmental auntie that you never seem to be able to get rid of, no matter how much you try. My role is to evaluate the meeting in general, from start till the end. And to help me with it, I have my very own tag team. First up, the timer. Toastmaster Amrit is an ambivert and a jovial person. She relishes meeting new people in her spare time, she watches her favorite sitcoms again and again. Much like me, even when I don't have any spare time. Toastmaster Amrit, the stage is yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My role as a timer is to keep the speakers to ensure that everyone speaks within their allocated. To help me do this, I have 3 color cue cards, which is green, yellow, red. Raise the green card when the speaker is the qualifying time, the yellow card when the speaker has reached target time, and the red card when the speaker has reached the allocated time. 3 segments, and it goes. The first segment is the prepared speeches. The allocated time is 5 to 7 minutes. I'll raise the green card. The speaker has reached 5th minute, and the yellow card when the speaker has reached the 6th minute, and the red card when the speaker has reached the 7th minute. And the speaker will also be granted a grace period of 30 seconds on either side of the speech. And the next segment is the table topic speeches, which is for about 1 to 2 minutes. Again, I'll show the green card at 1 minute, yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red card at 2 minutes. And the speaker will have 30 seconds grace period after 2 minutes to wrap up the speech, his or her speech. Okay. Third, the final segment is the evaluation segment, where the speech evaluators will get 2 to 3 minutes to evaluate the speakers. Again, the yellow card will be shown when the evaluator speaker has reached the 2 minutes, yellow card when the speaker has reached the 2 minutes 30 seconds, and green card when the speaker has reached the 3 minutes. I request all the speakers to my videos. I'll present my report when called upon by GE. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amrit. Next up, we have the R counter. Toastmaster Pradyumna is a fellow first year. He loves the movie BoJack. His hobbies include playing Dota, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, football, and my personal favorite, panicking when asked for an intro. Toastmaster Pradyumna, please introduce your role.
Thank you for the intro, General Evaluator. Good evening, I'm Pradyumna and I'm the R counter for today's meeting. My role is to count the number of unnecessary sounds or repetitive words you use when speaking. These are CRPF, where C stands for crutch words, which are sounds like and R stands for repetitive words, P is unnatural pauses, and F is filler words we use when we are unsure of how to end a sentence. Best way to avoid this is to acknowledge and consciously be aware of that usage. Taking simple, short pauses to avoid fillers helps gradually reduce and eventually eliminate them. I will be back at the end of the meeting to present my report. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pradyumna. Next up, we have the third member and the grammarian. Toastmaster Aditya is in his first year aerospace engineering, watches his favorite sitcoms on Netflix during his free time. I just stream it online. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Toastmaster Aditya, please introduce your role.
Thank you, General Evaluator. As a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to the language usage. I will take note of any improper languages as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thought. As a grammarian, it is my duty to introduce the word of the day and the phrase of the day. So today's word of the day is Today's word of the day is adroit. The meaning is having or showing skill, cleverness, or resourcefulness, handling a situation. Usage: an adroit leader, an adroit maneuver. Synonyms are handy, adept, smart, and masterly. The phrase of the day is make a statement. To create, indicate, or communicate a certain impression, idea, or mode. Example: I choose such a loud clashing color because I want the exhibit to really make a statement about the chaos of commercialism. Your outfit makes a statement about you to a potential employer before you have a chance to utter a single word. I request every speaker to use the phrase of the day and word of the day. I will present my report when called upon by the General Evaluator. Thank you.
you, Toastmaster Aditya. That's it from me and my team. We'll be back at the end of the meeting again to present our evaluation. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kriti. So before going to the first session, I still have one more thing to do. I have a question to ask. How many of you are watching the current animated show? What If?
I'm going to start.
Okay, so the basic idea is, what if this and this happened instead of what actually happened? So I'll share my screen. I have two scenarios for you as of now, and whoever is interested can share their point of view. Is my screen visible?
It's visible.
So who will go first? Okay, I'll just reveal the topic. What if Captain America had not vanished during World War II? How do you think the MCU would have turned out? Anyone can speak. We still have time according to the agenda. So
Can I go?
yeah,
I think we would not have that arc of having the Avengers assemble, or it would have been very difficult to have that, because the whole point of the Avengers assembling was because of Hydra. And if Captain America was there in World War II, there would have probably been no Hydra. So no Hydra, no Avengers, or that arc would have been much more difficult to pull.
thank you, Toastmaster Richard. That is something that did happen in the comics. So moving on to the second topic. What if Loki wielded Thor's hammer? What do you think would have happened in any of the Thor movies?
Can I speak?
Yeah, I don't
I
recognize
would be
your voice.
really excited if Loki wielded Thor's hammer. He would have really got, as he's known as the Lord of Mischief, it would have been really great, and then he would have conquered almost all of the thing, and then Thor wouldn't have won anything. Basically, he would have been the king of Asgard,
Okay,
which I love.
to add to your misery that he didn't wield it, there was a deleted scene where he did wield it Thor's hammer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, having said all that, let's move on to the first session. The first session, the prepared speeches segment. This segment is very similar to the 2012 Avengers movie, where where we lay the foundation for what's to come. And to start off, the first speaker. Before calling her, I would like to request Evaluator 1 to read the guidelines for her.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening to my target speaker, Team Shivangi. She is attempting her Level 1 Project 2 second speech. And I'll just tell you the purpose of this speech is, for the purpose of the project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. And the purpose of this speech is for the member to demonstrate that he or she has applied the feedback received from his or her first speech. All the best, TM Shivangi, and back to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Francis. To bring the first speaker on stage, she describes her. She's freshly. She has just completed undergraduation from MIT Manipal in computers and got recently converted to FT Sabre Corporation and is the SA of her club. She is a black belt in Taekwondo and a trained dancer. She also enjoys playing instruments like guitar and piano and occasionally loves to cook. She loves Black Widow, but Loki wants to be a Loki. So please welcome Toastmaster Shivangi, a soldier's passion. A soldier's passion, Toastmaster Shivangi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone. For this particular speech, I was advised to speak about something I love. Well, I happen to love a lot of things, starting from singing, dancing, to even online shopping on Myntra. I just love it all. I couldn't decide what to speak about. Then recently on 15th of August, I went to my mom's school. My mom's a teacher. So I went there to attend the flag hosting ceremony. Now, when the flag was hosted, everyone, including me, started singing our national anthem. I don't know if there's something about it or I sang it after a long time, because last time I sang it, it was in a movie hall watching the movie Chichore, which, by the way, is a great movie. But coming back to the topic, so watching that movie, singing the national anthem kind of really gave me goosebumps that time and kind of moved me. Later, I came back home and I came back home to the news that Taliban has now taken over entire Afghanistan. Then I did some research that in 1970, 80,000 Hindus used to live there, and currently only 50 are left. Surprising, right? Now, 1.2 lakh Sikhs used to be there, and currently only 650. The fact that past 30 weeks in Afghanistan has now put it 30 years back kind of felt very unnatural and weird. The girls who used to have opportunity to educate themselves get employed, but now all taken away to the point that they can't even go out of their own homes without a man accompanying them from their own family. Very shocking. I couldn't help but feel sad and wonder our history as a country. And to be very honest, I am a patriotic person with love, devotion, and pride for our country. It's something I love the most, and it would be nothing less than an honor to speak anything related to our struggle of freedom and our Indian Army, which is making it possible till date. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a very generic question. First question, who do you think is the father of India? Anyone can answer.
Mahatma Gandhi.
That's correct. Second question, who is the Iron Man of India? Very correct. Okay, last question. Who is Ian Cardozo? Any answers? Okay, with the respect of time, I'll tell you. In 1971, in India-Pakistan war, he was the major in Gorkha regiment. Very courageous, very powerful. He was an adroit soldier. When trekking on the mountains once for the war, of course, he accidentally stepped on a landmine. Now, landmine is basically an explosive concealed under the ground, and you must have seen it in many movies, right? So he accidentally stepped on it, and one of his legs got exploded. You can imagine how excruciating the pain must have been. The particular time, there was no proper medical facility available around, due to which the junior doctor also started panicking, and he was not able to operate. Amidst all that confusion and chaos, and the fact that the Pakistani troops might actually spot them trekking the mountain, he picked up his knife and cut his leg from the body. Very surprising, shocking, and I know it takes a hell lot of internal power to do something like that. Later, he went for a proper medical treatment and the doctor saved his life, but he got a wooden prosthetic leg. Now, the officials in army said that, sorry, you can't be promoted because you are disabled. You can't perform even daily activities, let alone joining back the army. But Ian was adamant and he refused to give up on his passion of serving the country. Now, you all must be thinking, how can someone who can't even walk properly have such a dream? Ian knew what people were thinking about him. He knew his limitation, that how can a disabled person who can't walk properly serve any duty in army? But he overcame it. Overcame it? How? Did he start walking again? Damn yes. Not just walking, but running. He started building his fitness with his prosthetic leg and later participated in a race with a healthy army soldier and even won the race. For his physical army checkup, he climbed 60,000 feet mountain and went there and said that please do my checkup just like any normal regular soldier. This news went to the army head. Now, army head straight away said that I want to see if you can climb on the slippery, icy mountains of Ladakh. And once again, he did that. He became the first disabled army person who reached the rank of Major General. He got the promotion. He got the promotion he always wanted. And he won against all the odds. Now you see, fear is just a reaction and courage is a decision. To be courageous, all we need to do is take a decision. Now, I have my dull moments too, and all these things seem so easy when you think it in theory and so difficult when you try to apply it in your life. But To be very honest, I have these moments all the time in my life, and it's quite normal. But what is not normal and quite rare is the attitude to make a decision to change the way we feel. Most of the time, when things becomes difficult, we start focusing on the problem. But if we make a decision to focus on what we have instead of what we don't, we might actually be able to lead a better life. And all these things are what we can learn from not just Ian Cardozo's life, but from every soldier's life, every soldier's journey. We have freedom because of our freedom fighters. But freedom is only possible by constantly struggling for it. We are safe now because we have our bold Indian army protecting us each and every moment. In the end, I would like to make a statement with a quote which says, "Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of every soldier who died protecting it." Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivangi. That was an awesome speech, and if they were ever also good soldier, they would be here. Now, before calling on the second speaker, I would like to call upon the second evaluator to read the guidelines for him.
Good evening, everyone. My target speaker is attempting level 1 P3. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Timer, please note the time limit for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to my speaker. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prajita. The second speaker describes himself as a first-year CSE student who can't get enough of Marvel shows or movies. His favorite character is our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and with that, he is very excited for No Way Home. And to find a way home, please welcome Toastmaster Vishal. Are electric vehicles better? Are electric vehicles better? Toastmaster Vishal.
The Titanic, not the movie, but the boat. We as people are sort of like the Titanic in the sense that we've already hit the iceberg, and in this case, the iceberg is climate change, and we're slowly sinking. And 30% of that iceberg that hit us is vehicle pollution, which is why it intrigues me to study electric vehicles, because people often make these arguments about how electric vehicles may not be better for the environment than actual internal combustion engines. So with this speech, I hope to show you the facts and figures of everything in the comparison between internal combustion engines and electric vehicles. With that said, my college is like 7 kilometers away from my house, which is why I have to commute there every day. And there's no point of me staying in a hostel nearby. So commuting is the only option. So I have a bike, a Hayabusa, or the Hayabusa in this case. I'd like to share my screen and show it to you. So this is Hayabusa, Busa for short. It's not what you thought it would look like, but it's an electric bicycle, and it's actually part of my father's company. My father's company sells electric bicycles, which is why one day after college, my father took me to that office and he's like, you take this and you go to college every day. And since then, I've been using this bicycle to commute to college. So it's an electric bicycle and it's powered by an electric motor, which is why I really got interested in electric vehicles. So let's start from the beginning, which is production. Before the wheels even touch the ground, how much carbon dioxide do they put into the air? A typical internal combustion engine, after all the years of efficient assembly line management and making that process as streamlined as possible, still put out about 7 metric tons of carbon dioxide in the air. An electric vehicle, on the other hand, varies a lot. As it is a sort of nascent industry right now, it puts out anywhere between 2 metric tons to 16 metric tons. And this largely depends on the size of the battery. So a large electric car, like the Tesla Model X, would put about 17 to 16 metric tons of carbon dioxide, but your Ola S1 electric scooters would only put out about 1 to 2 metric tons. So depending on the size of the battery, you could actually put in much less carbon dioxide into the air. And since 80% of all vehicles sold in India are two-wheelers, you're more likely than not to put less carbon dioxide in the air when you're buying an EV. Let's go on to part 2, which is consumption. What happens when those wheels do touch the ground? Well, a typical scooter will travel anywhere from 4,000 to 10,000 kilometers, depending on how far the person's commute is, which is why the amount of carbon dioxide you'll put in the air from just using the bike is anywhere from 20 metric tons to a staggering 70 metric tons. On the other hand, an electric scooter, you would only be putting 2 metric tons. And this figure is taken from some of the most inefficient electric vehicles, pulling electricity from some of the most inefficient gas-powered coal plants. Now imagine a typical efficient electric vehicle from natural renewable sources of electricity, or at least an efficient power plant, would be putting much less than 2 metric tons. So this is 2 metric tons at its absolute worst versus 20 to 70 metric tons on average. Now, I could go more about the environmental impacts about this, but there's another aspect to this, the economic aspect. Because you see, electric vehicles don't just save the environment, they actually save your wallet at the same time. So what about money? Well, the average internal combustion engine car, they typically have, if they're a good car, a small, medium-sized car, their fuel mileage is about 15 kilometers per liter, which is why in a year, if you travel 10,000 kilometers, you'll have to pay around 70,000 rupees. And this is with the current price of petrol, which is constantly fluctuating. It's constantly going up and going down. And this is the capital's price. So if you're unlucky enough to live in Mumbai and you have a gas-powered car, you'll be paying more than this. Now, if you have a bike and it's a commuter bike, and it has an efficiency of about 40 kilometers per liter, you will only have to pay 25,000. A little over a third, a little less than a third, or over a third of 70,000, but still quite a bit of money per year. But if you have an electric vehicle car, remember a car, and you travel 10,000 kilometers, you will only be paying 6,000, less than 10% of their internal combustion engine counterparts. And if you have an electric vehicle two-wheeler, you will only be paying 1.4 thousand rupees a year. Let me stop sharing. So Hayabusa, my vehicle, if I were to take this 200 rupee note and buy energy for it, I would be able to propel Hayabusa 40,000 kilometers, which makes all of the numbers I just showed you about money pale in comparison. Think about it, 200 rupees for 40,000 kilometers per hour. It may not be as fast as them. It may not be as luxurious, but is a hell of more efficient than any of the other vehicles out there. There are some drawbacks to electric vehicles, such as their initial cost, but most of the drawbacks that they have currently either will be erased due to the fact they'll become more efficient to produce, or is just the fact that there isn't enough of a network to charge these things. Both of those problems are simply problems now, but they're not problems for 10 years later. So why don't people buy electric vehicles more? Well, as the engineers who were building Titanic, when they were posed with this problem of trying to put lifeboats into Titanic, the current laws at the time made it so that they only had to put in enough lifeboats for 25% of the people there, not the entire 100% of passengers. And due to this, when the Titanic did strike the iceberg, only 25% survived. Our laws today do allow us to drive and use internal combustion engine vehicles, but you have to ask yourself, is it morally responsible to continue using internal combustion engines and continuing to promote internal combustion engines when we know it's better for the environment and for our pockets to use an electric vehicle? For me, at least, the answer is always going to be electric vehicles. A, because they're fun, and because they're easy to manage. So I would like you from this speech to take a look at any of the vehicles you have and think about what it is exactly, the kind of vehicle or the kind of impact you want to have on the environment when you're buying your next vehicle. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishal. Our staff now wants to know your location. Okay, so moving on with the third speaker. Before calling on the third speaker, I would request to the third evaluator to come and read the speech guidelines for both.
Thank you so much, the general evaluator. So our third evaluator is doing her project Connect with Storytelling. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. The member completing this project is focusing on using stories in a speech or creating a speech that is a story. The member may use any type of story, personal, well-known fiction, or one of her own creation. I would be listening for a well-organized speech that is a story or includes a story. Some of the more finer aspects of the speech that you will be watching out for: 1. Clarity. 2. Vocal variety. 3. Eye contact. 4. Gestures. 5. Audience awareness. 6. Comfort level. 7. Interest. 8. Impact. And 9. Pace. Thank you, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saurabh. To bring out the third speaker. She is an army brat and a mother of 5-year-old loving and gorgeous boy. After being an educator for 5 years, she is now starting a new innings as a business soft skills engineer, as a business soft skill trainer. She is the associate BPM at Gabby's and area secretary of area B3 District 92. Please welcome Toastmaster Kamini, Pride in Freedom, Toastmaster Kamini.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. 2020 April, last year, my brother came down with his family, that is his wife and 2 children, for holidays at our home. And they... Just a moment, there's a little background noise, just a moment.
May I request the timer to stop the clock, to stop the time, and we will
Yeah,
restart.
yes, I have.
Thank you.
My apologies for this. There was something in the background that I had to attend. Can we start it again? The timer, if she can time me from the beginning, that would be nice. All right, so I was saying 2020 April last year, it was that time when my brother, along with his family, his wife and 2 kids, came down to our home for holidays. And like children, I have 1 boy, and like all the children, he too gets super excited to have more children around him to play around with. So there were these 2 boys and 1 girl. The girl was about 4 years elder to both the boys, and she had a doll with her. Now, up till now, my son is 5 years old. Last year, he was 4 years old. So up to 4 years, he did not have a doll. Now, when he saw that doll in his Alia Didi's hand, he got fascinated with it. So much so that he came up to me and he said, "Ma, I want this doll. Can you please buy me this doll?" So my reaction to that was, why all of a sudden a doll? He's like, because Alia Didi has one and I want one too. I want to play with her. I want to feed her. I want to bathe her, comb her hair and whatnot. He was just on and on with the list. I could see the excitement in his eyes. While in the background, there were people telling my son, no, boys don't play with dolls. Boys play with cars, aeroplanes, bikes. And people, it was that moment for me to make a choice. I made a choice that I will never dictate my notion onto my child and give him the freedom to choose the kind of toys he wants to play around with. I will never put a notion on his thinking that this is what is meant for you and this is what is not meant for you. I think a part of this belongs to my childhood. I grew up in an environment where there were gender biases happening on a repeated mode. Girls do this, girls don't do this. Boys do this, and boys don't do this. So when I was in that childhood stage, I used to tell this to myself that the day I become a mother, I will never put such notions and hooks on my child. I think most of us have these thoughts coming to ourselves that we will not do this to our children. And I was no exception there. So taking that forward, when I got a chance, I practiced this with a deliberate thought that I will give freedom to my son to make his own choices in life, to follow his path, his mindset. Last year, I never knew that I will be a part of Toastmasters. In fact, a confession here, I didn't even know that there is something known as Toastmasters existing on this world. But I may call it fate or destiny. Today I am here, 3 months old in the family of Toastmasters and giving a speech here in your club on freedom. So Saturday, that is yesterday, it was a huge day for our club, the Gabby's Toastmasters Club. We had 50th meeting there, and what a grand meeting it was. Again, you know how the cosmic connections work. It was a year back when I made a choice of giving freedom. I never knew at that point that I will be a part of a meeting where people will be talking about LGBTQI freedom, acceptance, inclusion. So yes, Saturday in our club meeting, we had the pleasure to have well-known names as panelists. One of them was Harish Iyer, Mr. Harish Iyer, who is a popular name from MVJCE, Amir Khan's show, and second, Dr. Akai Padmashali. Now, from that meeting, like everyone on the call, what I understood is that inclusion is something that depends on us. The onus of inclusion is on the ones who are included, not on the ones who are excluded. Because for some reasons, I think better known to people who do that, we exclude the LGBT community, the LGBTQI community from the other community. But why do we do that? It is like any other community. The way they accept us, the onus is on us to accept them. It is their choice, what they have made. And as humans, as sensitive humans, I would like to say, the least we can do is accept them, not just in our thoughts, but in our actions as well. And this is something which I realized yesterday. That another thing which was very beautifully made to reflect was that we don't need to educate children. Children are non-biased. It is us that we need to educate ourselves. You know, we have these notions of judgment in our head all the time. And we go on polluting the minds of children. Toastmaster Saurabh said that children are born unbiased. As parents or as elders or as anybody else in the environment, it is us who pollute their mind and tell them how they should behave, which probably they don't like it, but they don't have a choice because they are children. So I think I have given a choice to my son. I've started this from my home, and I feel good. I take pride in this. And another thing, the last thing I think from Dr. Akai Padmashali that came as, again, a very beautiful statement is that these people are doing such constructive work outside in the society. Then why just, you know, think of them that they are meant for menial jobs? There were a lot of stories on, but I have the restriction of time here. We had stories of the retail store Target, the one policy of washrooms that was introduced in the Target, and in the longer run, it did work in the favor. So there were innumerable stories that were told to us. But here, I would like to pause. And towards the conclusion, I would only like to urge everyone and say that let's begin this at our homes first. Let's stop telling boys that boys don't cry. Let's give them freedom. Let's give them the freedom to accept and to make choices. It is their life. We are just here as parents, probably the medium through which they come. We are not the owners of their life. And if we start young, I think we will have a more healthy and a progressive society coming into form, not just literally, but even to witness. Thank you everyone so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kamini. That was a wonderful speech with a wonderful message. And I request the SAA to drop the link in the chat box. Each and every one of you can vote for the best speaker. Meanwhile, we'll have 2 more episodes of What If. So the first one is What If. Okay, is my screen visible? It's fine. I'll read it out. What if Dr. Strange was a student of Dormammu? Answer it while you're giving the votes. Anyone?
Yeah, I would like to go. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who Dormammu is, he's the villain of Doctor Strange's first movie. Even though if Doctor Strange would have been a student of Dormammu, I think he is pretty smart and pretty intelligent to understand what a good thing is and what bad things are. So basically, he's a doctor and he's been through a lot of situations, a lot of difficult situations, to be honest. And while taking a doctor's oath, I'm not sure if it's right, but you are supposed to protect people's life and you're supposed to do everything that is possible from your side to protect the patients. So just like that, Dr. Strange, being a man of his words, couldn't have forgotten his oath, couldn't have forgotten his responsibility. So even though he would have been a student of Dormammu, he would still have been on the right path.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditya. We'll look into that in the next week's episode of What If, because that's probably the episode. Okay, moving on to the second episode. What if Ultron gained access to Vision's body? Anyone would would anyone like to volunteer, or should I just directly go into this table topic session? Okay, before that, how many of you have completed voting? Show me a thumbs up. Okay, great. So no one is volunteering for this topic. Okay, fine. It's fine. But speaking of Ultron, the second movie was Age of Ultron. It was the whole second phase of Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the Infinity Saga, was an experimental phase where they tested on characters such as Guardians of the Galaxy or Ant-Man. And the next phase of our meeting is very similar to that. It's where you can experiment on yourself to see how well your impromptu speaking is. It is an open to all session, so each and every one of you can participate. And to conduct this session, let me call upon the table topic master. She is a coffee person who loves cooking. In fact, cooking is her favorite getaway from everything. She loves driving and haven't seen any Marvel movies. Please welcome Toastmaster Aditya.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, Toastmaster Aditya.
Okay. So, table topic segment in the Toastmaster session is a segment where we give the opportunity to practice impromptu speaking. As a table topic master for today, my role is to conduct this session. I will call upon members and guests and give them a topic to speak about for a minute or two. As I said, table topic is an impromptu session. The purpose of this table topic session is to help members to think on their feet and speak. Speak on the subject which will be given on spot. I'll be sharing my screen. Just a second. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Toastmaster.
Okay. Please do raise your hands So who would like to come first? I can't see the hand, so Toastmaster Prajita, if you could help me with this.
Yeah, sure.
So who's gonna come first? Anybody?
I can go first if you want.
Okay, Toastmaster Vishal. So your choice for this. And why?
Okay. Interesting. So I would prefer the gym over yoga because I'm more used to that, going to the gym. Yoga is not something like I've tried too much, although my father is always like, you should do yoga. But with the gym, like when I go there, I can specifically target my routine to target specific muscle groups. So it's very, like I can do whatever I want. Yoga, like I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So I just, like the most I know in yoga is this tree position where you stand on one leg and put your arms out wide. That's all I know in yoga. So just because I'm more used to going to the gym to do things, for me at least, I would pick the gym. Although even to the gym, I don't go that much.
Okay, that's great because I don't do either, though I want to do, but then it goes to every Monday and then that Monday never arrives. So next one, who is up for the next question? Now, if you guys don't volunteer, I'm going to pick. I'm going to be a, yeah, Toastmaster Kriti. Okay, your question is, if I were the president, I would.
Amazing topic. If I were the president, I would, well, first of all, fine people for not wearing a mask. I think that's already there, but it would be a harder fine. And well, moving away from the COVID thing, let's see. Oh my God, so many issues. Do I, okay, first of all, education, I think, because that's the main thing, you know, in everyone's life. You educate a person, you educate a whole family. So yeah, maybe schemes and reforms with respect to girl education, especially. And wow, this is so many topics. Okay, yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. There are so many issues. So next one, anybody up?
I'll try.
Is it Toastmaster Aditya?
No, it's the Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah. Your question is, if given a chance to make your own show, what kind of show would you make and who would you cast as your main lead?
Okay, so if I were to make my own show, the kind of show I would like to make is an already existing show, but a bit more expand. Like I would like to expand it a bit more on it because it only has 2 seasons, and I think it deserves much more than that. And the show I'm talking about is Rome. It's about the Roman Republic getting converted into a Roman Empire. The reason is because I really like the vibe that existed in the city of Rome back then. Talking about like showing how Julius Caesar marched on Rome, how Augustus literally took the power away from people, and yet people were cheering for him. So that is something that I would really like to make a show about, because that's, to be honest, my favorite event in the whole human history. And who would I cast as a lead role? That would be Kit Harington. Kit Harington, that too as Marcus Agrippa, not as Augustus. Okay, Augustus is someone who is the emperor, and Agrippa is someone who is his general. So Agrippa won Augustus his own empire. So Marcus Agrippa is the one I would cast Kit Harington as, because his portrayal as Jon Snow was perfect, even though the show's ending was not. Uh, Jon Snow in the books, he portrayed it perfectly in the show, so that is why I would proceed. Marcus Agrippa as Kit Harington, and a show based on Roman Empire and Roman Republic.
Wow, I would definitely watch that show in case you make it in future. That was so interesting. And I saw Toastmaster, our guest Toastmaster Rahul, wanted to take up a topic. So will you take the next one?
Sure.
So your topic is, in which scenario lying is a good idea?
To be honest, this is the thing which we encounter in everyday life. So, as a kid, I had lied to my parents for extra pieces of, whatever the sweets which I was craving. And there are some times that you need to lie because you need to maintain some good relationship with the people. So it might be considered as a white lie or something, like giving a little bit of false information for the moment, I can say. For, there are some family issues where you have to lie because you can't lose that person and you have been through that person in your life and he means a lot to you. So it might be so your best friend or your parents, your siblings.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you have to be cautious because one or the other day the lie is going to be big. You have to say the truth, and you can't hide the truth for a long time. And if you go on keep on hiding the truth, you need to say more lies, and in the end you get caught up. So I hope that lying is something which you have to say for the moment. I can say only when you have this kind of what we can say, some kind of a crisis where you have where the relationship is at stake or something which is a very you have a person to lose at the stake. So then at that moment it can be justifiable for the moment, but lying isn't a healthy habit, not in the any kind of trust or but in any kind of relationship. Lying isn't kind of any healthy behavior, I can say.
Yeah, that is true. Absolutely right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rahul. And anybody up for the next one?
I can go next if anyone doesn't want to. Yeah.
Toastmaster Shivan. So your question is, one second. If you were to interview your favorite celebrity, who would that be and what would you ask?
Okay. I can blabber all day long, but now when I have to, I can't think of anything. So my favorite celebrity, I think I can't choose one. It has to be six, and it has to be everyone, the lead cast from Friends, because it's my favorite show. And the things that I would ask them would be very, very basic. Like, what do you eat? What do you eat? When do you sleep? What do you do in whole day? How's your life? Who are your boyfriend, girlfriend? Any general information that the media can't have, I would love to have that. And all their memories from the Friends TV show. I mean, I find myself going to YouTube and watching all those, what is it called, backstage videos, like what happens behind the scenes, bloopers. Yeah, bloopers is the word. So yeah, I would like to ask them about all of those things. And what else? basically everything about them. And if it was someone from Bollywood, I would like to talk to Deepika Padukone and Varun Dhawan for very, very obvious reasons. They're both so cute, so amazing. Yeah, that would be it. Thank you.
Wow, that would be great. Hope you get to ask them questions one day. So I saw Toastmaster Saurav raise his hand. Will you take up the next question?
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Okay. If someone gave you $1,000 and asked you to spend it in one day, how would you spend the money? Now, this is a very interesting question.
I don't know why. Always when I attempt table topic, people want to give me $1,000, $200. I think this is probably the 1,000th time. Okay, exaggerating. Maybe the 100th time. Okay, no, the 10th time that I'm getting this topic, and this is very sad because in reality, I've never seen anyone even offering me $100. So I make up all this khayali pulao, I kick up all these plans, and I always make this grand scheme of things that if I get $1,000 someday, someone from somewhere unplanned, I would do these things, and those things. But nothing comes my way. See, the only place, and actually, it's a very sad reality because the only place that we find happiness is in such table topics and in our Gmail boxes, where there are at least 10 banks who are ready to give us loan, and there are at least 15 girls who are saying that they really want to date someone who's a 40-year-old man. So apart from that, happiness in life is almost like, it's something like the COVID vaccines. So anyways, coming back to the topic, if you really want to give me the $1,000 outside of this table topic, then probably the first thing I would do is pay off some of the loans, which is bothering me. And if that would leave me back with some money, then I would try to buy some stuff for me, and maybe splurge a little bit, and that's it. I think you were hoping to get a more idealistic answer that I would be spending this money on feeding poor kids and helping hundreds of people buy some stuff. But is that what happens? Is that what we do? When we actually get $1,000, the first thing we do is we first look at that, and then we try to pinch ourselves and say, did we really get that money? And if it comes all of a sudden without any plan, we may want to actually box on our face and try to make sure that this actually is not a dream. Nothing comes free. So if something is coming free to us and out of nowhere, I think we will spend a good amount of time first to sink in that reality that that $1,000 has actually hit my account. And if it has come to my account, I'm pretty sure there would be 1,000 catches attached with it. So if I get $1,000 to my account, I would write back to that person and say, hey, I've got a wrong credit in my account. Would you want to check back with once? Thank you.
Wow. I can't believe that your speech was so impromptu. It was like a prepared speech full of humor, and yeah, it made so much sense. Thank you, Toastmaster Saurav Datta. The last one, we have one last question, and who would like to go? Who is this?
Amrit.
Okay, Toastmaster Amrit, sure. Your question is, if you could have 2 of Doraemon's gadgets, what would you have and why?
Great, it's a very good question. So let's start with the first one. The first one would be anywhere door. Anywhere door, I could reach anywhere at any time, any place. So first, there would be no time issues. Like for me, time is really important, and being on time is really apt. So I wouldn't have to hurry up all the time, and I wouldn't get chances to miss stuff. So that would be great. And so I could reach anywhere, travel a lot. That would be the best part. Traveling is like one of my list. So the one thing which I want to do after completing my engineering is to travel to one place, like get into know different cultures about that place. So that is one thing. And second thing would be torchlight, which can make things bigger and smaller. So especially food, I'm a foodie person, so obviously I couldn't make my pizza large how much I want to and then eat it. And then vegetables, like the ones which I don't like, I could reduce the size. And because being healthy is also important, you cannot negligate it. So yeah, so I would, both ways I could eat both, like food stuff and the vegetables to be on health and fit. So that's it. That's it.
Wow. Yes, even I would have the anywhere door. Trust me, everybody in this world would want to have an anywhere door. Okay, so this comes to an end of the table topic session. Hope you all had fun. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditya, for that amazing session. 2 sessions are done, 2 movies are done, and what if show is done. I do have a small quiz for the Marvel fans. So let's see how you all guys do. So is my screen visible?
Toastmaster Aitesam, are you there in the meeting? Okay, I think he might have a network issue. We'll just wait for a few more minutes. We'll just wait for 1 more minute, and then we can directly jump to listener section if Toastmaster Aitesam doesn't come back by then.
Okay, sorry guys, but okay, I'll just randomly ask the question instead of sharing the screen. So the first question for the Marvel fans: when did the Tesseract last appear before Infinity War? Which was the last movie in which you saw Tesseract before Infinity War? Okay, Vishal.
Captain America, the first Avenger.
So that was the first time we saw it.
No, it was
the last
Thor.
episode.
Thor.
Wait, are you asking the first time or the time before?
Just before Infinity War, which was the last appearance of Tesseract. Okay, Kriti, don't stress this. It's Captain Marvel because it was a movie just before Infinity War.
Okay. I haven't watched Captain Marvel.
Okay, the second one is simple. You all should know. What is the name of Doctor Strange amulet? The one thing that
Can you repeat the question?
What is the name of Doctor Strange's necklace? The thing that he wears.
It's the Eye of Ogomoto, if I'm not wrong. Ogomoto or something like that.
It's Eye of Agamotto. So, point to Aprajita, I guess. Okay, the last question before we move on in the meeting. Apart from Thanos, who else wanted to collect all 6 Infinity Stones? Okay, Vishal.
Is it the Collector?
Yes, it was the Collector. Because if you have watched the Dark World or the Dark World in its post-credit scene, when he gets the reality stones, he utters the word 1 down, 5 more to go. But okay, now moving on with the meeting. Third Avengers movie was named Avengers Infinity War. And it was a movie, it was an Empire Strike kind of a movie where the heroes, Avengers, lost because they, specifically Star-Lord, didn't listen to each other. And to make sure that doesn't happen once again, let's call Toastmaster Deepika on stage to conduct this.
Thank you. Oh, wait, I thought you said Kriti.
Toastmaster Deepika for listeners.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aitesam. So I will be sending a buzzer in the chat box. I hope you'll join it so that I can start asking the questions. I'll wait for a minute or two for y'all to join it. Okay, so how this works is I'll unlock the buzzer when I ask a question for a few minutes, and if you guys click on the buzzer, your name will appear and I'll call whoever clicked it first. So now let me start. A good number of people have joined it. I'll start the first question. Who answered the question? Okay, sorry,
ignore that.
Okay, let me once again ask the question. Who answered the question Toastmaster Shivani asked about who was the father of the nation? Toastmaster Aprajita.
It's Toastmaster Shruti.
Yes. The reason why I did not ask Shruti is because she answered. How unfair is that, Shruti? Oh my God. And the next question will be, so I'll be telling the quote that Toastmaster Shivangi said, and I would like you all to complete it. Our flag does not move because of the wind. It moves because Shruti.
Breath of each soldier.
Right. So the next question, how much carbon dioxide does an electrical vehicle produce? Aprajita.
It's at max 2 at its worst.
No, what's the number? How many metric tons does it?
It's 2 metric ton.
No, that's incorrect. Toastmaster Francis?
Is it 20 metric tons?
No, that is incorrect. Toastmaster Saurav?
20 to 70 metric tons.
No, Toastmaster Rahul?
It varies from 2 to 16 metric tons.
Actually, it was 6 to 16. So yeah, no one gets a point for that. So the fourth question, what else do the electric vehicles save other than the environment? Just a second.
No.
Yeah, Toastmaster Saurav.
Money.
Yes, right. That is very obvious. And okay, two things why Toastmaster Vishal likes electric vehicles. Just a second. Okay, Toastmaster Saurav.
One is the money, and one is the environment factors, because of which those are the two reasons.
No, that is incorrect. There is two. Aitesam.
Because it's close, it makes. Okay, why he likes it? That is the question.
Could you please repeat that?
I said because he likes it, but I think that was the question. Why he likes it?
Yeah, why he likes it.
Okay, I knew he likes it. Okay, I don't know the answer.
Okay, since no one else has buzzed it, let's just move on to another question. How many percentage? Oh, so, okay, the answer was because he thinks it's fun and it's easy to manage. And so the next question is, how many percentage of lifeboats were put in the Titanic? Of percentage to save? Yeah, Aprajita.
It was 25%.
Yes, right. So now Aprajita has 2 points and Toastmaster Saurav has 1 point and Shruti has 1 point. I'll just ask 2 more questions and we'll finish the listener segment. How many years of the MCU is completed and how many movies were released? Toastmaster Aprajita.
23 years. I do not remember the number of movies.
No, okay, that is incorrect. Toastmaster Amrit.
It's 11 years and 23 movies.
Right. So now we have Toastmaster Amrit on the scorecard. the last question, though Toastmaster Aprajita is winning it. Okay. Which topic did Toastmaster Kriti get in her table topic segment? Toastmaster Aitesam.
What if I was the president, or what if she was the president?
Yes, right. Okay, so we have a tie between Toastmaster Aitesam and no, wait, there's no tie. So Toastmaster Aprajita wins the listener segment. So yeah, I would like to give the stage back to the TMOD. Over to you, TMOD.
Yeah. So thank you, Toastmaster Deepika. Because as always, this session was fun and engaging. And as Dr. would put it, we are in the end game now. And to make sure, okay, to conduct this session, the final session, who better to call upon on the stage than the person who started her MCU journey with NDM. So please welcome the panelists of this meeting.
You will rub that in my face till the day I die, won't you? Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster. Okay, so to conduct my evaluation segment, again, I will call upon my three evaluators first. So Toastmaster Francis is the evaluator 1. He loves sports and music. He's currently working in financial services. He's someone that likes positivity around him. And what better place to find it than here at Toastmasters?
Thank you, TM Kriti. Congratulations, TM Shivangi, for completing your L1P2 second speech. I want to say that it was a very well structured speech, which started off with an anecdote of you and your mother, and then how you heard about the Taliban taking over Afghanistan on the same day. And then you gave some stats about how many people of Indian faith were there in the past and how little there are right now. And then you made a transition to India itself. This was a very nice transition you made, which was very smooth. And then you talked about well-known figures in history who fought for our independence. And then you narrowed down to one person, who was Ian Cardozo, by asking a question to the audience. And then you talked about his efforts. Despite losing his limbs, he still struggled and fought for our country. And then you ended on a very patriotic note saying, "Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it." I think this the audience will surely remember. So those were some of the good things you did. Some of the other things which you did very well was you seemed very comfortable giving the speech, and your pace was not too fast or not too slow. You were just right with that. And the words you were saying were very clear. Also, your vocal variety was very good. And we could make out that you were very engaged with everything that you were saying, since your vocal variety was that good. And that came through in your voice. You delivered your speech in a laid back and relaxed way, which is one of the effective ways to deliver your speech. And another great thing you did was you asked the audience questions and got them engaged. And I also observed that for the last question about Ian Cardozo, you asked who is Ian Cardozo, and nobody knew the answer, so no one answered. But still you went on with your speech. You did not wait, which was a good thing. So you did not waste time with that. Now, after letting you know all the great points that you did, I would like to give you some suggestions. One of the suggestions is you could use hand gestures. Along with your vocal variety, it also makes your speech more engaging to the audience and shows that you really mean everything you say. In order to see your hand gestures though, you would have to stand and deliver your speech. So those are the 2 points I have. Other than this, your content was very good and the way you delivered your speech was great. Good luck with your next speech and back to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Francis. You covered all the points. That was a very well-structured evaluation with the positives and the improvements and commendations. Next up, we have Evaluator 2, Toastmaster Aditya. She's a third-year CS engineering student who is currently in an eat, sleep, repeat mode. She loves the Avengers and doesn't particularly have a favorite Avenger because it's too difficult to choose. Toastmaster Aditya.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone, once again. My target speaker, Toastmaster Vishal. First of all, congratulations on giving an amazing speech. You passed level 1 P3. So starting with the evaluation of your speech, the title, Are Electric Vehicles Better? The question itself is something which I think all the citizens, all of us, we should ask ourselves whether we should switch to electric vehicles or not. So the title itself was so good that all of us were made to think about the topic. You started talking about the climate change, and then you gave a reference to the Titanic hitting the iceberg, which I thought added a little element of humor to it to the start. So it was a wonderful start. Then you referenced your bicycle as Hayabusa, which was again a funny thing that you did. So initially, when you just mentioned the name, we all thought that maybe you were going to show a picture of your bike, but that actually turned out to be an electric bike. So that was one really good thing. Then the entire presentation that you give was divided into 3 main parts, which were production, consumption, and money. Each of these parts were explained well. You had prepared facts and figures to validate your point, and you stressed on each of those points very nicely. So all of us had the attention on that. Towards the end of the body, you discussed about the problems as to why people are not switching to electric vehicles. You also spoke about what are the problems that a normal everyday human being can face when it comes to switching vehicle and why people are not doing it. You also discussed the problem and gave a solution to it. So that was a totally covered way of expressing a situation. The start and the end references in your speech, which were related to the Titanic, I thought was a very strong point. So in the start, you had one reference, and towards the end, you had another reference. So that sort of connected the starting to the ending. You stressed on important points. For example, when you were stressing on the facts and figures, you changed your voice tone and you made it a little loud so that we could all focus on those facts or figures. You had clarity while you were speaking. The structure of your speech was also good. It had a proper starting, a proper body, and a proper ending. You were very comfortable and relaxed while giving the speech. So that was one strong point of your speech. The speech was well researched as well, and you were very enthusiastic while you were delivering that topic. A few points of improvement I would like you to have in the next speech is you exceeded a little on your time limit. I am not really sure what the exact time is, but I could see the red card there for a long time. You also had too many facts and figures in one page of the presentation. So I thought that was too much to read in such a small time. So if you could have had only electric vehicle comparison and and like the combustion engine vehicle comparison straight over there, so it would have been fine. Your pauses were good, but it would have been better if you would have gone a little slower because I could see you rushed it in the end. But yeah, you managed it well. So congratulations once again. That was an amazing speech. Thank you, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditya. You covered all the points. That was a very meticulous and well-structured evaluation. Just a little over time, but that's completely fine. I'm pretty sure you were in time. You did not exceed the 30 seconds. So, and Coming to Vishal, one point I want to mention is that since I've seen all your previous speeches, there was more vocal variety and a lot more of expressions in this, and I really appreciate that. When you said 40,000 kilometers per hour, I felt it here. I think, oh, yes, yeah. I mean, that was a point that you had to emphasize, and you did a good job. Thank you. Now, moving on to the Evaluator 3, Toastmaster Saurabh. He is the Area Director of Area B3D92, President of the Gabby's Toastmaster Club, and Outstanding Toastmaster and Grand Slam Master Mentor for District 92. Toastmaster Saurabh.
Once, a mother of a 5-year-old chose a stage of young leaders of tomorrow to tell a story of courage, of pride, of freedom. She told a story of a boy who wanted a pink-colored doll. So outrageous. Boys play with blue, girls play with pink. She told us a story how she decided to break all the shackles of her army background and give the boy the doll that he wanted. And she told us the story with a lot of passion. I really loved it when she told us a personal story, because when you tell me a personal story, it means you trust me. It means you trust me with the secrets or with those moments of your lives which matters. I so wanted her to show the doll as well, which she did later. But at that point of time, when she was telling the story, I really hoped that she would have showed us the doll. What I really liked about her story is that she told the story with a lot of emotions. You could see that frustration in her eyes. You can see that you can hear that frustration in her voice. But I would have really wanted her to tell the story with more emotions, with more vocal variety. When she's talking to her son, I would have wanted her son to reply back like a son would have replied back. I would have wanted him to say, "Mama, please, Mama, I want that pink doll," not like he wanted a pink doll. You know, sometimes we forget that a story is not a narrative. It's not a commentary. It's a story. And that's why stories stay with us. That's why every time you see a lion chasing a deer in the National Geographic Channel, you go back to that story of your grandpa of once upon a time there was a lion in the jungle. That's how stories get etched in our memory, because that's how stories should be told. Toastmaster Kamini, you had a beautiful story and you told us in a very beautiful fashion. You had a very powerful message. Just one thing, when you tell a story, tell it like a story. The other thing that I would have wanted you to do is stick to one key message: pride in freedom. That's it. I think while connecting back to the Toastmaster meetings and multiple messages that came out of that meeting, it became too much for people to absorb. So have one key message and have more instances around. Since I was a part of that meeting, I know that there were several instances in that meeting which could have corroborated the main message that you have, that boys can love pink too. Men can fall in love with men as well. And sex and sexuality are two different things. Gender and sexuality are two different things. It's a matter of choice. If you would have left with that message, it would have stayed with us longer, deeper. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saurabh, for that meticulous evaluation. Toastmaster, I'm sorry, Speaker 3, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Your speech, I forgot the name, but your speech is not something I can forget. Kamini, I'm so sorry again. But your speech is not something I can forget. It is, the topic is something that needs to be talked about. And I was so happy to hear someone here at Toastmasters talk about it. So thank you for that. And moving on to my three musketeers, the tag team. I'd like to call upon our timer first to give her report.
Okay, so as said by Mr. Thanos, perfectly balanced, all things should be. And that was our meeting. And I'll share my report. See, so here's the report. Everything was on time. Everyone spoke their allocated time. It's just Vishal exceeded the 30 seconds of extra. Anything else? Vishal, just one recommendation to you. Next time when you're practicing a speech, once or twice, I would say that is what I do. See it, keep a timer to yourself. See, so that you don't exceed. This is really important if you're taking part in further contests, so you don't back out because your speech was really great. And for the evaluation report, just exceeded by 11 seconds by Tim Solvent to PM Aparajita, but evaluations is important part of the meeting. So yes, it was my report. Back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Our counter, Pradyumna, Toastmaster Pradyumna.
Here's the report. Rachna had 6 Rs, 5 Sos, 1 and. Aprajita 16 Rs. And Toastmaster Aitesam 11 Rs, 3 repetitive words, 1 and. Toastmaster Kriti 8 Rs, 1 1 repetitive. Toastmaster Shivangi 1 1 1 repetitive and 1 so. Toastmaster Vishal 2 Rs, 1 repetitive and 1 so. Toastmaster Kamini 2 Rs. Table topics Rahul had 3 Rs, 1 so and 1 you know. Toastmaster Deepika 1 1 Toastmaster Francis 3 Rs, 1 1 repetitive and 2 ands. Toastmaster Saurav 2 Rs. Toastmaster Amrit 13 Rs, 2 so's and 2 ands. Toastmaster Aditya 5 Rs and 3 repetitives. Back to you.
Toastmaster Pradyumna. Our third tag team member, grammarian Toastmaster Aditya.
Once again, good evening to everyone. So to the word of the day was used by Toastmasters Shivangi. Usage was adroit soldier, and nobody used phrase of the day. Other words or other phrases used were better late never, that is a phrase, and usage of one more word, emphasis. And Toastmaster Shivangi used prosthetic leg. Fear, just a reaction, courage is a discussion. Patriotic quote by our flag does not fly because of the wind, it flies with the last breath of every fallen soldier who protected it. And Toastmaster Vishal used commutating inefficient. Toastmaster Kamini used gender bias, confession, destiny, cosmic connection, inclusion, panelist, constructive and menial job. Toastmaster Saurav used splurge, idealistic, frustration. Toastmaster Francis used anecdotes and transition. This is from my side. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, grammarian. All right, I'm moving on to my part of the evaluation. First of all, I'd like to start off with the theme itself, which is very exciting. As soon as I saw the poster, I got really happy and I was glad I was the general evaluator for this meeting. So good job on that, TMOD. And my expectations were met, definitely. This was an amazing meeting. So moving on to the individual aspects of evaluation, the meeting roles were filled up in advance, and the introduction were shared in, there was a last moment change, but that was handled very smoothly. The meeting poster was, yes, appropriate, more than appropriate. It was amazing. The meeting started on time. There was a minute or two delay, but that is completely fine. Pre-meeting AV checks were done for everyone. Did the SAS start meeting as per the protocol? Absolutely. It was also done with a lot of enthusiasm. Rachna, this is your first time. Good job on that. Were the guests welcome? There are no guests today, if I'm right. So that's there, but everyone was greeted when they entered. Was the presiding officer properly introduced? Yes. Was the Toastmaster of the day introduced? Yes. Did the Toastmaster of the day explain the meeting theme properly? Yes. Were all the guests informed? Okay, well, again, no guests. Then did the TMOD introduce general evaluator? Yes. And well, coming to the evaluators, all of them explained the project objectives and gave their evaluation, for which I have already given the evaluation. Coming to table topics, the topics were very easy and they were good to answer. It wasn't something that you had to think about a lot or something difficult, but I would suggest it didn't really align with the theme, which was Marvel and which was Infinity Saga, right? So maybe a few questions at least relating to the theme would have been, because it's such a vast theme, right? Marvel Cinematic Universe or Marvel or Infinity Saga is such a vast topic. So maybe something, maybe a trivia or, I mean, anything. You could have gone all in with that. Maybe something related to the theme would have been nice, but the questions otherwise were very well chosen. Then the listener segment, the questions were good and easy, but the segment ended a lot earlier than expected. Ideally, it's around 7 p.m., a little, add or take, give or take a few minutes, but it ended almost 10 minutes before that. So maybe you could have added a few more questions to that. That's the only feedback for listener. Then my tag team, coming to my tag team, timer, great work. You added a good tip as well to Toastmaster Vishal, which is appreciated. Our counter, well arranged. You had your Excel sheet ready and everything was visible. Maybe, and you told them how many repetitive words they had, right? Next time, try to note down at least a few of those and mention the repetitive words to them so they know what they have to look out for next time they speak. Grammarian, loved that you showed the whole evaluation. What you see stays in your head longer than what you hear. So that was good. That was a plus point. Then did the general evaluator introduce the tag team properly? I think I did. I hope I did. Then did the general evaluator introduce the evaluators? Yes. Was the word of the day challenging and appropriate? Yes. And the phrase of the day as well. And that's pretty much it. Yes. Overall, great job. I'd just like to add a few points. As a side note, almost like 16 to 17 participants throughout on average, and like 7 people had their cameras on. That's less than 50%. So next time, if your bandwidth permits, please do switch on your cameras to encourage the speakers. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditya, for snapping your fingers. Okay, so with that being said, we are done with all the major segments. SA will now drop a link in the chat box for you to vote for the best role taker, which you felt. It is open for all. And meanwhile, I have 3 last questions for you all as a post-credit scene. you're a Marvel fan, you should wait even after everything is done. So while you're voting, you can answer them. I'll ask the questions. So the first one in this scene is, when was the only time we saw the Soul Stone's power in MCU? Anyone? When was the only time we saw Soul Stone's power in use? Like we saw Tesseract opening portals, we saw Mind Stone controlling people. But when was the only time we saw Soul Stone in action? Again, if no one is answering, should I answer? Okay, Vishal.
Is the one time the Soul Stone used in Civil War? Or was it when it brought to life Vision?
No, it isn't in Civil War. The Soul Stone is the stone that's only in Infinity War in India. And it was used only once by Thanos in a fight against Doctor Strange. When Doctor Strange multiplied himself, he used the Soul Stone to find where actually the real Doctor Strange is. Okay, so the last two questions. Who is the villain Thanos sent to capture the Power Stone? Come on, this is easy. It's from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Who is the villain of Guardians of the Galaxy 1? Vishal.
Roman, I don't remember his full phrase, but Roman.
Ronan, yeah, that works. Okay, so Kriti, I don't think you are that crazy of a fan. But the last question.
Ask
Let's
questions
see how
from Guardians of Galaxy. I don't like Guardians of Galaxy.
it's a part of MCU. Okay, so the last. When was her first experience? What is it? When was she first came on screen in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe? Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff.
Age of Ultron.
Okay. Okay. Kriti, can you repeat your answer?
Age of Ultron, right?
Vishal, you have any other answer?
Oh, come on. I thought.
I'm not sure. I don't think it was. It was one time she
One of
came
Captain
before.
America's movies.
Yeah, Amrit is right. It's in
Winter Soldier.
Okay, so she first appeared in the post-credit scene of a movie called Captain America: The Winter Soldier. But since I am done with my questions and my part, I'd like to conclude this meeting from my end. And to conclude, what started as an experiment with a B or C grade superhero, no offense, but Iron Man is a B or C grade superhero, at least in 2008, ended up becoming one of the most successful franchise in our world. And we actually live in a world where Harry Potter prequels aren't making any sense. Star Wars crumbled in its sequels. And Game of Thrones, let's not talk about Game of Thrones. It's a miracle that we got a satisfying end to a saga. And with that said, I would like to give the stage back to our president, Toastmaster Aditya.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters, the Toastmaster Aitesam. First of all, let us all give a huge round of applause to all the role takers, especially TMOD, General Evaluator, and Table Topics Master. Today was an amazing meeting, and today was a memorable meeting for all the ones present in the meeting today because the theme was Marvel itself. First of all, I would like to ask our guests about their experiences today. Let's start with Toastmaster Kamini. Toastmaster Kamini, could you please unmute yourself and share your experience with us today?
Thank you for the opportunity, President. So I'm not an Avenger fan, although I don't have a choice because my son is super crazy about Avengers. So having a whole meeting build around Avenger theme, I think it was a fabulous idea, and the TMOD did a fairly good job in connecting everyone with the theme. What else did I like? I think the listener's role was new to me because the way she kind of put on that thing on the chat and the buzzer thing, I've not seen that before. So that was something new. And yes, thank you for having me. It was a good experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kamini. We also have Toastmaster Shivangi. So Shivangi, could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, thank you. So I think there are a lot of things I loved about this meeting, especially the enthusiasm of each and every role taker and how sincerely and disciplined you all guys were. So kudos for that. And definitely I learned a lot of new things that I'll take back to my club and implement them. So well done. This was an amazing meeting. And I completely enjoyed my time there.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shivangi. We hope both of you, Toastmaster Kamini and Toastmaster Shivangi, join us for the upcoming meetings. We also have Toastmaster Saurabh. So Toastmaster Saurabh is someone who comes to our club very often. He's taken up a lot of roles, especially GE. So I would like to ask Toastmaster Saurabh to please unmute and share your experience with us today.
Yeah, I think I think Preeti was using the same template, right? Which I had used for your general evaluation, right? Yeah, so good. I think you guys are learning, and that's the reason that we have evaluators and general evaluators from other clubs, right? So that we can learn from each other. So be proud copycats. I mean, it's very important that we replicate the best practice instead of trying to reinvent the wheel every time. There is nothing smart about trying to reinventing wheels. That's just the donkey way of doing things. So I think it's very clear that you guys are smart and you are picking up things and you are calling in people from other clubs, learning from them. I also heard you're going to international clubs and doing meetings. So I think that's exactly the way that you should be doing. So great job, and a new set of leaders I see here. So all new faces, not really new faces like Vishal, I know, and Apurajita and Preeti. So yeah, and some of the old faces I'm missing here. But I think, yeah, I think the leadership continues. Great job, guys. Continue to it, rising.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Saurabh. It's always a pleasure to have you in our meetings. We also have a guest today. We have Rahul today in the meeting. So Rahul, if you can please unmute yourself and share your experience. How did you like the meeting? Any feedback if you have for us? It will be really great to hear from you. Rahul?
Yeah, actually, it was a very personal experience I had. I had a lot of information coming from all of you guys. There's a lot to learn in this life. So I there there isn't any huge thing which I can say, but everyone has done their best, tried their best to do it. Actually, I wanted to join the club to brush off my communication skills, and I found that many people are way much better than me. So I hope to learn from them. And today I learned a lot of things. And for example, I learned about the electric vehicles, which is in future, that is the future, I can say. And plus there are a lot of things which in this I had left. I learned all kind of moral values like nationalism and the personal narration. How do you express one's thoughts without hurting the sentiments of other people? So there are some kind of gender bias also I came across. So taking it to the recent things, I felt it was very immersive experience for me.
Thank you so much, Rahul. We would get you in touch with the VP membership. He'll be helping you with the membership process and he'll explain everything to you related to the club. We also have Toastmaster Francis. I think this is this 8th or 9th time Toastmaster Francis is coming to our meeting. He's always very enthusiastic on taking up roles. So Toastmaster Francis, what would you like to say?
I think everyone covered pretty much what I wanted to say. So I just think keep going. You're doing a great job and look forward to taking other roles other than Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Francis. Sergeant at Arms, do we have the results ready for today's meeting? Toastmaster Rachna?
Yes, we do have the results. I'll announce the results.
Yeah.
So the best, okay, so we have for the speaker 1, Toastmaster Shivangi with a rate of 4.5. Speaker 2, Toastmaster Vishal with rating of 4.16. And speaker 3, Toastmaster Kamini with the rating of 4.5. So the winners of the speaker are Toastmaster Shivangi and Toastmaster Kamini. Congratulations to both of you. And coming to the evaluator, the best evaluator for today is Toastmaster Saurav Datta with a rating of 4.45. Congratulations, Toastmaster Saurav. And we tag team, we have the best tag team, Toastmaster Amrit with a rating of 4.45. Congratulations, Toastmaster Amrit. And the best role taker for today is the table topic master, that is me. Thank you. And yeah, that is it. The meeting rate for today is 9. So congratulations to everyone, and it was a great meeting.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rachna. As mentioned during this,
and
yeah, go on.
Yeah, and sorry, just missed out one. The best table topic speaker is again Toastmaster Saurav Datta. So congratulations to him once again.
Thank you again, Toastmaster Rachna. So, like I mentioned during the start of the meeting, that we will be having our 50th meeting the next week. We, the XCOM team, have been preparing something very special for all of you guys. So, just to drop a small trailer as to what we have for next week, we all will be going out for lunch. Because most people opted out for a lunch instead of a dinner, so we have kept it for lunch. So all the members present in the Bangalore, they will be going out for a lunch on Saturday afternoon, and we'll arrange something special for you there also. In the upcoming meeting as well, we will be trying to do something very special. We'll be trying to find speakers. We'll be trying to have some fun sessions, maybe some games in the upcoming meeting. So please do attend the lunch as well as the upcoming meeting. That will be very special for all of us being together as a club. We are a newly chartered club, and this first milestone meeting, 50th meeting, I hope it will be special for all of us. With this, I come to the end of today's meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the meeting. I shall now stop recording.